Thanks for being here if you are here, and thanks for not being here if you're not. It's Wednesday today, and this week I've actually decided not to do any streams, but because I'm doing some other work for a friend, um, but I've actually got something interesting to look at, so I'm just going to get into it, and let's see, maybe half an hour. I've got about half an hour, 40 minutes, so. Okay, so yesterday I was meeting with a person, um, and we do shared sessions together. She's a friend, and and I started to just speak about something that was bothering me, and instead of instead of sort of kicking in and doing the self inquiry together, she sort of switched over into a friend mode, let's say, and started to sort of solve the issue for me. And the whole thing that she started to say was, "Hey, just get over it." And and I mean, I think sometimes this is a usual way that we are with other people, is this idea of trying to solve things for them. Um, and in a way, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get out of a feeling that we're having from listening to them. Um, it's really common. It's a really common thing to talk to someone and then have them try and solve it for you. So I was quite shocked when she sort of switched over into this mode, um, considering we were there to do self inquiry. Um, but I felt quite sort of, I don't know, insulted, actually, is how I felt. Insulted. I felt she was being a bit unkind, and it was just, again, it was running against the idea of us being there together to do this self inquiry. But I noticed as it was happening, and then afterwards, that there was a defensiveness to it. Um, and and there was like an interesting, like there's an interesting desire to keep something, especially for victims, or um, I don't know, we identify with the story, and it comes in different ways at different times. But it's enough for me to say that sometimes we want to suffer. We want to keep a story going of vengeance, or being hard done by, or whatever the story is. So when I notice that defensiveness within me, and I recognize that, there's something here to take a little look at. Um, and and at the time, it was strange. It was a strange kind of interaction. It was a strange ending, and we'll come back together again and talk about it, and maybe even do some self inquiry on it together. But that's what I want to look at today. So that sense of defensiveness, and the idea of just letting something go. And there was something as well about her, about the way she was speaking to me, um, that seemed quite a little bit dismissive. And so there's something in that too. So I'm just closing my eyes so that I can notice better what my thoughts are, what images are happening in my mind. Um, and I come into the body, and I'm just checking just quickly to see what's here in the body. So feelings, sensations, pains, that type of thing. Um, okay, and then I notice that there's nothing really standing out. A little bit of something on this collarbone here, some sort of pain or something, um, and a slight feeling of chill in the air. So I guess I do that just to sometimes. Sometimes there's something else here rather than the thing that you bring into it. There's something else here that needs to be looked at to start with. So that's why I look into the body in that way. And And so what happens is, in my mind, I go back to that situation. I go back to being on the computer and speaking with her and speaking about this sort of issue that I've got. And I hear her voice kind of change in my mind, and her start to say to me that, hey, just you need to just get over it or let it go. And I mean, the basic thing she was saying was that you're getting more from the relationship than, whatever this problem is, which is interesting. So there's a response to that. There's this idea of her, telling me what to do, kind of thing. This idea of authority in the moment, and it's something that I guess I don't enjoy so much. And that part of this business as well is this idea that you don't actually need anyone to tell you what to do, that you can sit and be and sort of be the authority of yourself. So, okay, so that's interesting too. Interesting to let that other idea come into my mind, and maybe to see that, I might be suffering because of that idea. And yeah, it's true. So I can see in my mind different people having different conversations with people where I am sort of an authority in some way. I've done self-inquiry long enough that I'm experienced enough in it and can give sort of good advice. But I don't like the way that feels within me. And then alternatively, I don't like it when the foot's, the shoe's on the other foot. So as I sort of see myself giving advice, and I can feel into the belly of it, there's a cringiness to it in the belly. And I'm just sit with the sensation. I'm just listening a little bit to what's coming up in the mind. Well, what's this saying about me? What does this mean? Mm. Mm. Okay. So what I like, how it sort of moves is, first I experience that sense of cringiness of being like the authority, and then it flips over to the other side, and I see myself as a child actually being told what to do from adults or from something other, some authority over there, and rebelling against that. And just seeing, I see in my mind, there's a few things that are here. One is the not having the possibility of being able to do it, to make a mistake and go through it myself as a child. And then the next one that comes along is this, it's like a strong authority of, this is the way it has to be. You have to do it in this way, whatever it is that I'm doing as a child. You have to do it in this way, and that's the only way. And there's a mechanicalness to it that I'm rebelling against. So, and I feel this go through the body, this kind of reaction and response. And okay, and then sort of the deeper level is this sense of separation that happens here, because I don't feel like, I feel disconnected, or I feel separate from the authority that's telling me what they think I should be doing. And that's always the cause of the pain and the suffering, is that sense of separation. Some version of that. So I'm just sitting here in that sense of being separate and isolated. And there's an image of me being sort of as a child and um, okay, interesting. It's like wanting to be separate in that moment, not wanting to have to listen to someone else tell me what to do, and there's an undercurrent of something here as well. Like there's a drive of the authority that the reason to say something and to say something to someone else is how you should do it, and that undercurrent, that drive and emotion, I'm feeling like I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel the sense of fear or the sense of arrogance in a way, because there's identity and there's ownership. There's an ownership here. I know the best way to do something, and I'm just going to put it on top of you. And it's a I know underneath this, I do this myself as well. Okay, and then so this person that we started with here comes in, and there's a sense of her sort of saying this and being this way towards me, and me rejecting it, and and so the reciprocal part of this is this feeling of being worthless, not being able to do something myself and needing someone else to tell me what to do. That whole sort of thing. If it's accepted, if the authority is accepted, then there's an accepting of not being enough um, in this regard, and while that's true in some things, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a cause of suffering in this moment, what I'm feeling is suffering because of it. I'm feeling the sense of not being enough, and I'm not enjoying that feeling at all, that experience. Okay, so in my mind, I see this same sort of thing, but it's a bit archetypal. It's a bit symbolical, where there's the authority there standing up and being taller, and me being here and less than and underneath, and sort of being triggered and needing to put a barrier or a defense up against what they're saying towards me. And they could be saying anything, they could be saying like the alphabet, but it's because of the meaning that I'm giving it, the meaning, the thing that it seems to mean about me, that I'm trying to defend against it. And as I sort of, the resistance falls down, and I can start to, or there's an opening that happens, and then there's an actual listening that happens, and and something else that struck me with this whole situation was that, she might be right. Why shouldn't I just let it go if I can let it go? Why would I want to cause myself suffering? Um, in that moment, there was no even consideration of that. It was an absolute thing that was happening that I needed to do self inquiry on, to get understanding and go through the whole thing. You know, so there was a mechanical, like a mechanicalness to the situation, where it was this and this and this and this and this, rather than awareness of what was going on and how I was feeling and the situation. It showed up in the surprise that I felt when she sort of switched voices, and it was almost like she switched voices and started speaking to me, and okay, and so clearly now what's coming up is that sense of um, like defending and having something pulled out from underneath you, like you're about to give a big It's funny that's going like this, but you're about to, do a big surprise for someone. Ta-da! Here it is, and then someone comes in and steals your thunder, type of thing. There's that sort of feeling to it. And I can hear her a bit better now too. I was able to hear her to some degree in some parts, but then the trigger would come in, or it would be a trigger what she was saying. So there was a blocking of the ears type of thing, and so now I can hear her a little bit better, and her whole sort of argument was quite good, actually. Okay, and there's a bit of a humbleness too, because I'm sure I've done that to her. I don't remember doing it to her, but I'm sure that I have done that to her. And I guess it's a bit hard in some ways to, like, usually what happens if I work with someone volunteer or donation based, it starts out with me being a bit of the leader and being the one that's experienced and, helping them through something. But then naturally we come to this point of equality, and um, and maybe that just hadn't happened before with this person. Mm. Okay, interesting. So I'm recognizing as well that the equality that I was a bit afraid of, maybe at times, this desire to want to be something and want to be the leader or experienced or whatever it is, it's connected into that. Um, but it comes with a certain sacrifice as well. And I'm seeing in my mind now that the equality allows because often I don't share that much with this person of what's happening for me. We do some self inquiry. Mm. Okay, so I just saw another little element as well of, like, it mightn't be the best thing to sort of mm, that's a hard one to explain. Yeah, okay. So there's like an honesty comes through now, an honesty in the meeting that maybe wasn't there on that day. Um, yeah, like a humbleness as well of things that I hadn't thought of or hadn't experienced. And then like the possibility or this advice that she was giving of hey, just let it go, comes in. And then there's a looking at that, oh, is it possible that, is there something here I want to hold on to? um, the bigger scheme of things, or the other problem that was looking at, that we were looking at. Okay. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, the insight that just came was that it doesn't necessarily need to be either or with this other person. Um, and the situation that I can let it go. I can see that this person is the way they are. Um, and as she was saying, that there is a joy in the meeting of that with that person in the way they are, and it doesn't necessarily need to mean one thing or the other, and that actually I can just, if I need something else, like the sort of the situation was, I've got this friend who I had this feeling of need and betrayal from him, because I felt like I wasn't getting what I needed as a friend, like support and interest, and things that that maybe you would consider should be there. There was a big should. The relationship should be this way, and her like words are ringing true, that if like I'm getting something from the relationship, there is a love there and a connectedness there with this person, and and if I can meet him where he is, and then I can open up the idea of needing support and love from someone else, um, and then still be in that sort of friendship with him in that way, in that sort of manner of friendship that we have. It doesn't need to be this and or nothing. Like, I don't need to try and fit him into a box. I don't need to try and manipulate him, or I can accept him fully as he is and love him for who he is and what we have together. And then if I need this other thing, this support and interest, then I can maybe open that up and find that from someone else. Um, okay, interesting. Oh, shit. I mean, I can find that within myself for myself. Mm. Okay, interesting. So we've just gone full circle. And it's quite, I just need to give a bit of time for the gratitude that's coming. Um, yeah, it's coming up behind the eyes. There's a real thankfulness. Yeah. Okay. So there's a sense too of recognizing that this idea of authority and need from outside is something that we can do within ourselves, and and that is kind of a solution to this was that exact thing, but on a deeper level, that I can give myself I can be more interested, or maybe I can't, in what I'm doing business wise, because my actions are not so reflective. I'm not spending all day, every day doing this. Mm. Okay, and then it comes in a bit like, okay, where does this leave me? What's the feeling here at the moment? And it's a little bit of hopelessness, actually, and loss. There's a little sense of losing something that I want. Okay, so what comes in at the end there is this woman comes back into my mind, and it's like I can see her with different eyes in this moment, in this image, um, and there's a more openness towards her, and an open with the ears towards her, and also a more like also putting forward what I want more. I can see that there's a bit more determination there, and there's a love there too, and that hasn't actually changed, but there's still this love there. And then I bring in this sort of dude, and there's understanding there, and it's like lined with the level of compassion too, of sort of recognizing that 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 he's going through his own things, and he is where he is. You know, his understanding his interests and likes are, what his interests and likes are, and that it doesn't need to be one or the other. Yeah, I mean, all of this is more encompassing and embracing and sort of unified. You know, it's a more unified stance than the other of more separation and more isolation. Okay. Okay. Well, pretty good. 27 minutes. I think I'm going to call it there, and